Welcome to the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast with host Jacqueline Burke. On today's episode, we are interviewing Tracy Houde from season 1.
Welcome to the podcast, Tracy. How are you today?
I'm good. Thank you for having me. How are
Oh,
you?
I'm doing really good, thank you. It's a pleasure to have you back since season one. We haven't spoke since then.
It's
It's
been a
hard to believe.
whirlwind.
It's been a while, eh?
It has, and again, it feels like a minute.
Yeah, right. So today I wanted to, if you could bring us up to speed on what's going on in your world, because there's been some changes.
There sure has. Yeah. So, oh boy, where do I even start? Let's just start with the biggest change that has occurred.
Okay.
In June, my husband presented with symptoms like a stroke, where he had um, semi-paralysis on the right side of his body. And my husband, as most men are incredibly stubborn. And he's like, no, it's nothing.
Yeah,
Uh, and when I finally got him to a doctor, they set him up with a neurologist immediately. He was
yeah,
admitted to the hospital, into the neurological ward. And never in my life have I prayed for it to be something to be a stroke,
yeah,
because the other things that they were talking about were far more scarier to me.
right.
But my brain was also saying, like, we're 4 days in. Like, is this what our new normal looks like? And yet still, desperately doing the please let it be, the
Yeah,
pleading, the bargaining, let this be a stroke, let this be a stroke, because at least we can come back from that.
mhm,
So after a bunch of tests and a series of MRIs and CTs, he was diagnosed with MS.
oh, okay.
Or that was the initial diagnosis, was MS, as he had multiple lesions on his brain, and he had a very large lesion on C3 on his spinal cord,
Okay.
uh, which is what caused the stroke-like symptoms.
Okay.
My husband is 58 years old, so they kept saying it's very unusual to be diagnosed
Mhm.
with MS at this late. It's, in the
Yeah,
game. It's very unusual for this. It's very unusual. And I'm like, okay, so he's an anomaly. Cool. Okay, what
yeah,
do we
yeah,
do next? Right? What's our next step? He spent a week in the hospital on steroids, undergoing a bunch of different tests before they would release him home. But they would not give him an official diagnosis.
oh,
So knowing that he was coming home, knowing that he had, unsure whether or not he was going to recover or to what extent he would recover from the paralysis on his right side. Like, okay, do we need to sell our house? Do we need to get like a
yeah,
stair lift? Do we need, like, you kind of go through the, oh my, like, what do I need
yeah,
to do? What's next? What's next? What's next? Um, so we kind of, navigated through just taking it really one day at a time. How are you doing today? What meds are working?
yeah,
Talking to neurologists. Um, the process to be diagnosed with MS is extensive.
yeah,
And there are times where you're just like, are we ever getting anywhere? Like, what are we doing?
yeah,
So it's incredibly frustrating. So it's not really a diagnosis of MS more than it's a diagnosis of you don't have this.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So one of the things we had to wait for was a neurosurgeon to look at the lesion on his spine to determine whether or not it was an MS lesion. Was it a cancerous lesion? What exactly was it? And when they start, doing the, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this, human nature is going worst case scenario, right? Like, oh
yeah,
my God, what are we going to do? What
yeah,
does tomorrow now look like? Um, my husband hasn't worked since he went into the hospital.
mm,
So he exhausted all of his holiday time, all of his sick time, waiting to get a diagnosis, because you can't apply for things like critical illness, short-term disability,
right,
long-term disability without a diagnosis.
right,
So we, did a bunch of MRIs, because there's a time and space for, is it with an enhancement? Are those lesions lit up? Are they not? Is there more of them? Are they shrinking? Like, there's just There's so much. So, lots and lots of MRIs, lots and lots of testing, to finally get, the neurosurgeon to be like, no, this is an MS lesion.
Oh, wow.
We did a lumbar puncture. The first one was a dry tap. And I'm like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
Why does he not have fluid in his spine? What are you talking about? And of course they're like, well, it could be this, it could be this, it could be this. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
So, my husband, who's like, what is happening? And me trying to keep stuff
Yeah.
together, right? Because somebody's got to be the rock. It's like, okay, we'll navigate this. We're going to do this.
Yeah.
Um, and then like saw the neurosurgeon again or the neurologist again. And like, why would we have a dry tap? Like, what's
Yeah.
the deal here? Um, And there's multiple reasons. One, like your spinal fluid is just thick with proteins. And the
Okay.
whole reason for a lumbar puncture is to see if those cells are banded. And if those
Okay.
cells are banded, it's a clear indication that that lesion is an MS lesion, is how they explained it to me. I'm like, okay.
Okay.
Again, never prayed for more than it for it to be
Yeah.
MS because,
Right.
the other options are scary. Uh, so, we kind of get to the point where they're like, yes, you have MS. Okay. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What does that actually mean?
Yeah.
Um, because, most people do the curiosity thing and we go to Dr. Google and are like,
Yeah.
what does MS look like?
Right.
Right. And I think the most frustrating part of it is it's not the same for anybody. It's very
Right.
individual.
Yeah.
So fortunately for my husband, like his baseline, he recovered the majority, I would say 95% of his mobility on his right side. He still has a bit of a foot drop. He still gets super fatigued. He still has weakness on that side. But his biggest thing is he has nerve damage from that lesion in his spine. So it
Oh,
spreads from center line back all the way to center line front. So
okay.
breastbone to spine. And I don't even really know how to explain it. He says it burns, but it gets itchy and then it feels like lightning.
Right.
And where it hurts when you press on it doesn't change the feeling because
Right.
it's the transference, right? That's not where it
Yeah.
hurts. So he has, had multiple bruises across the front of his chest. He has used our dog brush to
Oh,
scratch the skin to just
oh,
trap pain. I'm like, oh my God.
yeah.
People are going to think I'm hurting you. Like, stop.
Yeah.
But it's just, trying to navigate through that. So one of the things that I have learned, and I'm sure I can't be the only person who's like, oh, I don't need that insurance.
Yeah.
So things like your disability insurance on your mortgage, your life insurance on your mortgage, lines of credit, loans, credit cards, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
We were those people. Why would I pay extra money for that? I'm never going to use it.
Right.
Yes. So
Yeah.
all of those things that we said, no, I don't need that. I really did need that. Um,
Yeah.
so you kind of navigate, right? You go from a two-income household to a one-income household. And I had previously been with an MLM and I just didn't have
Right.
time. Like
Yeah.
I can't, like I can barely function and just see
Yeah.
what tomorrow looks like, right?
Well, the last time we spoke, we were talking about your MLM that you were part of, and
Mhm.
yeah, but see, that's how life changes overnight.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
So, kind of trying to understand because MS is, a disease of inflammation and autoimmune, right? So, what does that mean in our household? So,
Yeah.
we've done some different things to try and minimize risk of inflammation from, environmental exposure to, you know, I have a cold right now, so he's like,
Yeah.
I don't even want you near me.
Yeah.
uh, because of course, when he gets sick, those things
Oh,
exasperate.
yeah.
Learning what temperature is good for him. So we had a beautiful summer, and he hated every day of it because it just
Yeah.
made it worse for him. Just being able to go out and walk the dogs, he just can't. He could sleep for 18 hours at a time,
Oh,
which is
wow.
so unusual for him. And he's like, it looks like I'm baking. So really getting an understanding of, that invisible disease. Just because you
Yeah,
can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. It doesn't mean it's not real.
right.
Um, and I've never been one who's like, oh, I can't see it, you're fine. Never been that person. But I see, even our neurologist, I see, look at my husband when he's trying to explain the pain he's in, going,
Uh,
I don't know. I don't
yeah,
know. So, you kind of have to pivot. It's a lot of realization that as we get older, right? It's hard enough as we get older to be like, oh, I can't do this anymore. My mind
right,
says I can, my body says I can't.
right.
It's very different when the mind and the body are both saying we can't do these things,
Yeah,
and your perception of who you are changes. So
yeah,
lots of while I'm not struggling with the MS symptoms, like my husband is, I am watching him deteriorating quality of life.
right.
That's probably the hardest thing I have ever seen, the hardest
Yeah,
thing I'm probably ever going to do. Um, and then, trying to get him to understand some of the things, like he left a stove or a pot on our gas stove
oh,
boiling
wow.
hot dogs and went outside to play with the dogs
Uh,
because he forgot the stove was on,
right.
boiled the pot completely dry,
Oh, my goodness.
even after he came back in the house. And I'm like, okay, do I need you to not, like, what's happening? And
Yeah,
then, I talked to the neurologist about this, like his short-term memories going, things he could remember he can't.
yeah,
Um, and I'm like, when is this an emergency? When is this something I need to be concerned about? Well, if you're concerned, give us a call. That doesn't answer my question.
right.
So
Yeah,
it's very frustrating. But yeah, your life really, it changes immediately.
yeah,
What was a priority or what you thought was priority really
yeah,
isn't.
right.
Um, like yeah, finances are very different right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Even just the things like we have two beautiful motorcycles sitting in our
Oh,
garage.
yeah,
And like, I think if he rode for 45 minutes this summer, that would be a pretty liberal amount of time.
yeah,
Just 'cause the wind on his skin.
right,
We've got our RV that didn't get moved this year
right.
because where am I going to go that I can control the temperature for him?
Yeah,
Uh, so there's lots of those things, and there's some times where, and it's awful. I resent that disease. I resent what
yeah.
it is doing. I resent what it is taking away from me. And it feels very selfish. But you
No, you're
have to.
going through the stages of grief,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
You
for
do have
sure.
a grieving process to go through when you're dealing with sudden changes in health with your partner.
Oh, absolutely. And it's just, kind of trying to navigate through. I don't even know if I look at what tomorrow is. I think I just look at what today is.
Yeah,
How do we get through today? First question I asked him when I talked to him in the day is, how are you feeling?
yeah,
Where are you at? How's your pain management? I talked to him today and he's like, I can't remember if I took my meds this morning. So I took them again. I'm like, oh Lord.
oh,
Well, you can't really, I mean, you can take more of the meds that he's on, but it gets hard on the liver. Like, okay, so are we
right.
going to trade? Like, where's the trade-off? Because
Yeah,
we can't be fighting with your liver as well as your body,
right.
right? So I have been very blessed with an incredible work family with incredible supports around us,
Yeah.
who genuinely go out of their way to make sure, that we, um, have the things that we need, that we're looked after. One of our good friends does our sidewalks for us,
Oh,
in our
nice.
driveway because he can't, and I don't want to.
Yeah.
That's a blue
Yeah.
job. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I totally would, but
Yeah.
you know, so it's,
Yeah.
yeah, life changed immediately, and
Yeah.
we're still playing catch up on it. And there's days that are really, really hard. And there are
Yeah.
days that I cry a lot.
I
That's
bet.
all I can do.
Yeah. But that's important to acknowledge that. You
Hmm.
need to do that. Take your me time and have those
Hmm.
moments, because
Yeah,
that helps you to go forward, you know.
absolutely. Yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
what are you making changes in your life to find that quality of life again?
Well, right now, I take advantage of every good day that we
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Um, and I recognize that sometimes he needs his space, and it's not a me thing. It's
Yeah.
I need to go lay down. I need to take my shirt off. I need to just rest. I'm just tired. So I don't push him to do
Right.
things. I'm like, you know what? And I don't make plans in advance because I don't want to pressure him.
Right.
Um, excuse me. So on the good days, I'm like, what do you want to do? Do you want to go get groceries? Like, as
Yeah.
ridiculous as that sounds. Um, yeah, do you want to go get groceries? Do you want to go look at tile?
Yeah.
Do you want to just go for a drive?
Yeah.
Right. Um, I just got back from Texas where I went and saw my baby girl, and
Yeah.
he's like, I wish I could come with you. I'm like, me too. Me
Yeah.
too. And right now would be an okay temperature to go, but him crammed on a plane
Right.
with nerve endings firing off,
Oh, yeah.
that's gonna not be fun, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just pivoting. It's a lot of
Yeah.
pivots.
So
And
how has your
there's
family adjusted?
sorry.
Your how has your family adjusted to dad now having MS?
Um, they do pretty good. The grandbabies don't really understand, like, why doesn't
Yeah.
grandpa come around anymore? Why do you, Grandma, why is grandpa sick? Baby,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know why grandpa's sick. He'd love to come watch you at the rink, but he can't. Like, he
Yeah.
can't wear clothes. Grandma, can we have sleepovers? Baby, I don't know. I have to wait and see. So it's harder on them because they don't necessarily understand the change
Yeah.
because grandpa looks fine,
Yeah.
right? So learning, kind of just navigating that is one of the things. And that's hard all by itself when you're trying to explain to littles that,
Yeah.
what you see isn't the reality. I don't know
Yeah.
how you tell a 4-year-old that.
Right.
Excuse me, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Uh, yeah, so there's overall everybody's been really great.
Hmm.
And they don't pressure him either. So if we
Yeah.
have something coming up and he's like, I'm not feeling it, nobody questions it. It's fine,
Right.
which is
Yeah.
good.
So do you think, like, because of his age, are the symptoms more like, have they jumped ahead compared to a person younger getting MS?
That's a great question. When we look backwards, you can pinpoint certain things that have happened. And it's like,
Okay.
oh, see, I told you should have went to the doctor. We probably would have
Oh,
understood this sooner. Um, they're not entirely sure because, of course, he didn't know
right.
um, whether he is in like remittance and relapse, whether he's progressive, that they haven't quite determined. So I don't really know the answer to that.
Okay. Yeah. Wow. So what does he do to help his skin and the
He
sensation?
doesn't wear a shirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's most of it. And then it's a lot of pain management.
Okay.
So vitamin D is really good for people with MS. So he takes a
Okay.
lot of vitamin D, but we're still trying to figure out the right combination of drugs that help alleviate that
Yeah.
pain. And the worst thing that doctors are saying, and while I get it, is this may never get better. This may
Yeah.
be his new normal.
Right.
And the look of loss in his eyes, like that defeat, is
Yeah.
absolutely devastating. It's like, what do you mean? I can't live like this.
Yeah.
And you know, um, and this is going to be like one of those things when people are either going to be like, yeah, I get it, or how dare you talk like that.
Yeah. That's
If you've
okay.
ever had that conversation where, it's that if I ever end up like this is what I want, right?
Right.
So we've had those
Yeah.
conversations. If I'm incapacitated and I'm merely
Yeah.
existing, I don't want to be on a machine.
Right.
Um, my husband has very, very strong views of quality of life.
Right.
And he is very much, if I have no quality of life, I am
Yeah.
not going to simply endure it.
Right.
Um, so my brain, quickly goes to how is he going to manage all of this? Am I going to come home one day and am I going to find him?
Right.
So him and I have that conversation, and I'm like, you don't ever do that to me. Do
Right.
not, do not do that to me. I don't
Yeah.
want to find you.
Yeah.
And his response is, you never would.
Yeah.
And I don't like that response either.
Yeah.
But I understand where he is, and he's very adamant about quality of life. And if he doesn't have it, he simply doesn't want to continue. And I appreciate and respect that. But at the same time, like, how dare you? How
Yeah. But
dare you?
it's normal to get through those stages too, right? You need to
Mhm.
have those conversations so that he can that's venting his frustration,
For sure it is.
you know?
And we have
And
had some,
yeah.
we've had some very real, very raw conversations about um, suicidal ideations with
Hmm.
him, um, and spent hours talking about it,
Yeah.
especially on really hard days for him. Um, and he's like, and I'm like, I, what do I do with you?
Yeah.
Because if I try and commit you, you will divorce me in a minute. And that's not going to
Oh,
be good.
no. No, he wouldn't.
Right. But I'm like, okay, is this the way that you discuss, vent, and process?
Right.
Or is this really what you're thinking? Do you have a plan? Is this something I need to be concerned about? Do I need a babysitter for you?
Hmm.
Um, and again, I realize that sounds, sort of, I don't know what the right word is,
It's your new
but
normal though,
it is,
you
and it's like,
know?
when is the next bad day going to be the last bad day? Like those are
Yeah.
very real fears. Uh, and they're hard. They're really hard.
Yeah.
So just learning to navigate that, learning to um, really not unpack in that space.
Right. Yes. Right.
But some days it just feels really good to unpack there and just
Yeah.
stay there for a minute.
Yeah.
um,
Honor
but you
your
can't.
feelings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you really can't. You can't stay there
Yeah.
because you're not good for anybody at that point. But you do
Right.
have to have self-care. You do have to have the things that still bring you
Yeah.
joy and peace and calm.
Yeah.
Um, and then there's guilt that goes with that too. So
Yeah.
it's a double-edged sword. Yes, I
Yeah.
need the things that fill my cup, but in order to do those, that means I leave him at home,
Right.
and then you feel
Yeah.
guilty for that, right?
Yeah. Do you think some
So,
of this is like the shock of everything too? Like, do you think
uh,
once the shock of things wear off, then it'll be easier to start focusing in a more in a positive direction for him?
I hope so.
Hmm.
I think that right now the biggest focus is navigating and managing pain,
Right.
because it keeps him up at night. It's just, and there's no relief from it.
Yeah.
That's the worst thing. It's like an itch you can't scratch that
Yeah.
never goes away.
Yeah.
Um, so I think once we kind of navigate that, it might be okay. Let's see if I clean some here. Of course I don't. Oh my goodness. Well, I don't need it right now. But yeah, just navigating through some of what it's going to look like. And is this really our baseline? Is this where
Yeah.
we are now? So does the next episode that happens make it worse? Because that's what
Mhm.
happens with MS. You come,
Yeah.
you have an episode and then you come back to like 75%. That's your new baseline. So the next one bumps you up and then you come down again. You
Yeah.
never get to zero again.
Right.
And because it's, so individual and so unique, I have no idea what I'm looking for. I
Right.
don't know what's new, what's not new. Um, so it's really hard to be like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a new behavior, this is a new symptom. Is it, or am I just more hyper focused?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know.
I have a question for you.
Mhm.
So you mentioned Dr. Google.
Yes.
Now, when you were going through all of this, and I know a lot of people are curious that when you have symptoms and you go onto Google, how accurate really was it to see your
Not.
doctor? Yeah.
It was not at all. Um, because not like even the things when we look backwards and are like, oh, that was probably an MS related event,
Yeah.
still presented as something else. So
Right.
him presenting with paralysis on his right side, like he literally had a stroke, was not. It was the inflammation on his spinal cord,
Right.
but it looked like a stroke.
Yeah.
So there isn't really like there's no checklist where you get to be like, oh yeah, I see that, I see that, I see that, I see that. What I do see is as I, kind of join different MS support groups,
Right.
I do see some of the progression, the symptoms that come with it,
Okay.
like changes in bladder. And I'm not talking about incontinence, I'm talking about the inability to completely empty your bladder.
Right.
The urgency, like I have to pee right now. And
Yeah.
all I can think is, oh, I understand that. I was pregnant. I
Right.
get that. um, and some of those things, uh, that short-term memory, the numbness that just all of a sudden you just have numb hands or numb feet or,
Hmm.
a numb spot on your leg.
Yeah.
Those I'm like, okay. Um, those I can start to see, but again, am I seeing them because I know that that's something I
Yeah.
should be looking for, or is this something that he's experiencing? I am a pretty vocal. Like my husband doesn't go to the doctors without me.
Right.
One because he's a man and I love him, but he doesn't remember by the time he gets home what the doctor said. Um, and he doesn't recognize some of the changes because for him he doesn't see them. So
Right.
when we go in, one of the things I say to him is don't undermine me, don't contradict me, don't argue
Yeah.
because I see these changes, you do not.
Yeah.
So he's learned to trust what I'm saying. I'm like, I'm not trying to make you sicker than you are. I'm trying to make sure that we're all on the same page.
Right. Yeah, it's hard because he's, the man of the house and they have that certain mindset and responsibility and then have to change all that, you
Mhm.
know, and it's
Yeah,
difficult. It's a
it is.
lot of adjustments.
Very much so. And of course, he's of that era, right? Where
Yeah,
a lot of us deem our self-worth on who we are, what we do, that kind
right.
of thing. So when something comes along and strips away part of that, it's
Yeah,
very hard to figure out your identity.
yeah,
And an identity crisis is equally as bad as everything else.
yeah,
So he has said, like, I feel less of a man. I'm like, why?
yeah,
I don't see you as less, but that's not how he's wired. But then I
right.
think about it And if I'm in that position, I understand that. Because if
Yeah.
I can't do the things that I think that I'm expected to do, then I feel less
Yeah.
worthy, right? And I think we have enough things in our lives that, and enough external influences that stroke that negative self-image that we don't need to do it to ourselves.
Right. Absolutely. I have one last question for you.
Mhm.
So if someone is finding themselves where you were a year ago, and what advice would you give them?
Never stop asking questions.
Yeah.
Never take no for an answer. If you're seeing things or your body's not acting normal or you're never just accept one answer. If you aren't getting the, answers, keep keep
Yeah.
asking. And if it's your spouse that you're watching go through this or your child or, a young app, you have to advocate for them.
Oh,
They
absolutely.
don't necessarily see some of the things that we do, and you
Yeah.
have to just keep pushing. I am, as awful as it sounds, I feel very blessed that my husband had symptoms that look like a stroke because
Right.
I don't know that we would have got the answers that we needed without
Mm-hmm.
it,
Right. Yeah.
right? So it would be, don't be afraid to ask for a second opinion. Don't be afraid to be the loudest voice in the room. At the end of the day, if you're not feeling healthy and you're not feeling comfortable in your body, it's okay to be like, I'm not okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's okay to keep asking because honestly, like lots of doctors, we get 10 minutes with them. And in 10
Right.
minutes, and that's not even enough time to tell you what happened yesterday.
Right.
Right. So don't be afraid to demand more time. Don't be afraid
Yeah.
to be the loudest voice in the room and don't be afraid to advocate for yourself or your other. Like I
Yeah.
have no issues being the loudest voice in the room when it comes to my
Yeah.
husband. None.
Yeah.
None at all.
Yeah.
No,
Well, good girl.
and then just reach out, find people that you can lean on.
Yeah.
And the ones who,
Absolutely.
you know, it's one of the hardest things is realizing who you thought were friends and who you thought and who isn't.
Right.
I learned that quickly when he was diagnosed. We got a lot of, oh, it's because you got the COVID shot. Oh, for the
Oh,
love of
my
all things
goodness.
holy. That's not even accurate. No,
Right.
no, no, no. But they don't talk to us anymore. Like, hey, well,
Oh,
MS isn't contagious either.
oh my goodness.
Like, what? But yeah,
Yeah.
people get it in their head about different things. And honestly, it's too exhausting to try and change somebody else's mind. You believe what you
Yeah.
want. If you want the truth, come talk to me. I'll tell you what I'm living in. I'll tell you my version of it. But
Yeah.
somebody else's version is going to be different, and it doesn't make it wrong.
Right. Well, I'm so glad you were able to join me today.
And thank you for
Was-
having me.
Yeah. What
I,
great
yeah,
information listening to your story. You know, our
thank
listeners are
you.
grateful because, they may find themselves in the same position and, now they know to keep
Mhm.
talking, keep asking questions, keep researching.
Yeah.
It's important, right?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's okay to have them say, well, you don't have this. Cool. I don't have that.
Right.
What else could it be? Oh, I don't have that either. Cool. Okay.
Yeah.
What else? Like start
Yeah.
crossing the stuff off the list because that's how you end up getting there. Is you
Yeah.
don't have this, and this.
Yeah. Right on. Well, thank you, Tracy.
You're very welcome, my
And
friend.
we're definitely going to have you back on again and get another update from you. Does that sound okay?
Sounds amazing.
Okay. Well, thank you kindly.
You're welcome. See you later.
Thank you to our listeners for joining us at the Three Moons, Three Souls podcast. We would like to take this time to thank our sponsors for their continued support. Nirvana 101, Trinity Empowerment Center, Red Haven Healing, Summers Light Markets and Events, Fernbury Collective, Ram Tough Property Maintenance, Lynette Waltham Energy, Your Waves Radiant Energy Empowerment Clinic, Brandy Music Publishing Canada, Wildcat Hills Records Canada. Divine Guidance Personal Empowerment with Dale and Jean Hogue. Soul Sanctuary Lounge Krylo Crystal Creations. Bonnie Supernet Psychic Medium and Author. Burke Virtual Assistant Agency and Transformational Retreats in Cypress Hills, Saskatchewan. Your contributions help us bring meaningful conversations, inspiring stories and soulful perspectives to our community. We are extremely grateful and look forward to a wonderful Season 3.